Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. This is Lisa from Next Up is Lisa, and I'm just coming in real quickly to show you how I make a very fast smothered pork chop. If you're interested, hang around.
Hi everybody. So I am one of those people that does wash their meat. I have washed and patted dry these pork chops. My preference for the pork chops is to always use bone in because that makes them or keeps them juicier. I am seasoning both sides of my pork chops. Right here I am seasoning with salt, pepper, onion powder, and garlic powder. I normally use granulated onion powder and garlic powder. It's just easier for me in seeing how I am seasoning so that I do not over season the meat. So that's what I'm doing here. You will also see that I take a moment and I kind of pat the seasonings into the meat, and that is to make sure that they stay on the meat as I'm handling them. So next thing you see me doing is taking my plate of flour and cornstarch and I'm mixing the two together. The cornstarch is meant to keep the pork chops crispier when I fry them up. And so I'm just going to mix them together. And real quickly, I have on the stove some oil that is heating up, and I'm getting ready to flour the pork chops and take them over to the um, pan. And that's what you see here. Okay, so for the rest of the video, I'm just going to kind of show you the different stages that the pork chops go through. So here's the initial frying. I'm also going to show you how they look when they are basically done. This is that. I fried them up. They're very crispy now. And then in the next couple of clips, I'm going to show you how I actually make the gravy, and that will include using the rest of the flour and cornstarch mixture that I breaded the pork chops with and using it as my add into the grease and the drippings from the fried pork chops, and I'm going to make a roux. And it takes about a good 15 to 20 minutes to make a roux. You just have to be a little patient. This is where the patience comes in for this quick smothered pork chops. But this is the initial add in of the flour and cornstarch mixture, and I'm just going to kind of mix that up a little bit, and then I'll come back in the next couple of clips so that you can see how it progresses and the color changes over the next over the time period that I'm actually cooking the roux. Okay, now here I'm adding water. Do not add cold water to this mixture. You want to add room temperature or fairly warm water, otherwise you will get lumpy gravy. Don't be afraid of the steam that's coming off of this, just part of the process. There is no particular ratio. I just kind of add till I get the consistency of gravy that I want. I actually added a couple of more cups of water to this over the period of time that I was making the gravy. So stick to it and just get it to the consistency that you want. Alright, in order to make this a quicker smothered pork chop mixture, I actually added a packet of au jus gravy mix. I prefer the brown gravy mix, but I only had au jus on hand. You can use whatever brand, whatever kind you want. And this is what I use to actually give a little more flavor to the gravy, since I had quickened the time period up that it normally takes to make a really good dark roux. So that's what you see me doing here. Don't forget, you should always taste your food. So that's me tasting it and deciding that I needed a little extra seasoning. And so I'm bringing out my Tony Chachere's, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, Creole seasoning mix, and I'm going to show it to you here. They have this one, and then they also have, I believe it's either a bold one or an extra hot one. Either way, I use this in a lot of my dishes. I'm also coming back with my granulated garlic that you see me adding here, and my granulated onion powder, which I'm going to add. I'm just reiterating the seasonings that I had used earlier in the seasoning of the meat. So that's what's going on here. Lastly, I'm throwing in some, what is Tony's 6 pepper seasoning. I got this from either Sam's or Costco a couple of months ago, and it's one of the things that we really love in the house. And I'm going to just stir it. And that will come together. You stir it and just give it a little loving, tender care. I'm going to add one more seasoning. It's a packet of the Goya Saison seasoning. It is a staple in my house. Did you see those quick hands how I almost dropped it and caught it? But I added that into it. It gives it a little different color with the orange color, but it actually has a wonderful flavor. If you haven't tried it, I would suggest you try it. But when you do try it, make sure you cut down some of your salt. So I'm just stirring that into the gravy, and things are looking really good right now. So now that your gravy is at the thickness that you want and is seasoned well, you just want to nestle your pork chops back into the gravy. And that's what I'm doing here. Just finding a spot for them to make sure that they're covered totally and immersed in the gravy. And then once I do that, I'm going to add some peppers and onions on top. I do this at the last minute because I want my peppers and onions to have a little bit of bite to them. I do not want them mushy or slimy, and I just kind of push them in a little bit. I do not mix them in because of the fact that I want them to have a bite. So I'm going to do all of this. When they get nestled in well, then I'm going to take and put a top on it, and I'm going to move it to the back aisle of the stove and turn it on low. And make sure you let everything simmer for at least 15 to 20 minutes. I was so hungry and so greedy, I actually missed out on letting you all see what everything looked like in the pan. But here it is on my plate as I was sitting down to eat. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please consider subscribing to my channel and hitting the notification bell so that you know when I have uploaded a new video. Thank you and have a great week, everyone.